Ça a changé là. Ok, d'accord.
Commenter.
C'est compliqué.
C'est pas celle qui fait baver. Demande à femme avec là comme nos semelles sur les pavés. La rage de voir nos plus d'entraver, de vivre en...
Yes, I'm Professor of Globalization Studies at the University of Lethbridge in Alberta, Canada. Alberta is on the eastern slopes of the Rockies. And George Bush is coming to Canada. He will give 3 addresses in Vancouver, Edmonton, in Edmonton, Saskatoon, and Montreal. And we are going to mobilize to make sure that the 9/11 truth issues, our quest for truth, has to be inserted into what they call the anti-war movement. The anti-war movement has stalled out this very central issue of how did the war on terror, where did it come from? Unless you address the lies and crimes of 9/11, which give justification, false justification to the war on terror, you can't deal with just all the outcomes of this great lie. So the anti-war movement has to face that they can't freeze out this issue. One of the things that gets thrown at us everywhere in the world where we talk about this issue is that it must be anti-Semitic. There must be some idea that somehow the Jews were behind 9/11. That is a terrible assault on decency to put that lie out, to construct and engineer that lie. And I would say that to exploit the suffering over hundreds of years, but certainly during the Holocaust, to exploit that suffering for a particular political agenda is just disgraceful. It's a disgraceful abuse of Jewish suffering. So we have to get this idea across. The outcome of the war on terror is that this is a religious war, it's an ethnic war, and the peace movement, by failing to address the 9/11 issues, is allowing racism and discrimination, and that people should be held accountable to that. These are ideas that I've been able to come up with or hear from others, so I think that we have to address this issue of well, if you're questioning 9/11, there must be something anti-Semitic about it, or even if you're not aware of it, somebody must be manipulating you. No, the real terrible disgrace is to abuse the Holocaust and to use that suffering to justify ruthless political actions which can't be justified. The reason some might speculate, of course, there's going to be all kinds of speculation about what happened on 9/11. People will come up with this theory, that theory. Some of the theories might be very wild and might indeed involve certain types of hatred. But that speculation, the cause of that speculation is that we don't have a proper investigation. We've never had anything close to an investigation. In fact, we've had a cover-up. And so without the proper authorities giving a credible explanation rather than the implausible bullshit that we've been fed that makes a mockery out of any idea that people have a right to some kind of explanation of something so serious. It's that failure which creates the basis for all of this speculation, all of this wild theories, some of it wild theories. This is not the responsibility of the 9/11 truth movement, these wild theories. The responsibility goes back to those who failed to do an investigation, to come up with some genuine investigation that goes into the facts of what happened, rather than creating this media-fed fantasy world, which so much of humanity, it's not a true world, it's a constructed fantasy world, and it's designed to create hatred between peoples, to continue everlasting war that a very small group benefit from. The real concentrations of weapons of mass destruction, that's in the United States, that's in the military-industrial complex. Why build up all of those weapons? It's to enrich a small cabal of ruthless people, and it is to prop up an illegitimate system where a very tiny group control our minds through this control of the mass media. The disgrace in the journalism profession, the disgrace in our universities, that lies of this magnitude are not being addressed. It's phenomenal. And as a person who works in the university myself, I see my colleagues, and it's really a hard time to deal with how sold out, how bought and paid for, how unwilling those who are protected with tenure, with good salaries, with good positions, how they won't look at the most obvious questions of our time about the huge lies that have been perpetuated to justify ever-ending war, never-ending war.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe you want quick.
Yes, and if you get a chance,
because we have to go.
yes, if you get a chance, check out my book, The American Empire and the Fourth World. I'm Anthony J. Hall from Alberta, Canada.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.